Welcome to Whispering Loudly, the award-winning Workshop Whisperer podcast, as featured by Apple, with Rachel Evans, the #1 automotive business coach in the aftermarket. Thanks to Platinum sponsor Podium and Titanium sponsor Mechanic Desk.
Whispering Loudly is the Workshop Whisperer podcast as featured by Apple. I'm producer Mel. Thank you so much for putting us in your ears today. We know you're really busy out there and we appreciate every time that you do that. It means a lot. Now, if you're not on there already, go to Rachel's Your Profitable Auto Repair Shop group on Facebook and you connect with other business owners and hear about their trials and tribulations. Maybe you can help them out and they can help you out. What have been some of the discussions happening in there lately, Rach?
Hi, Mel. Lately, gosh, the posts are so varied, but a couple of the most popular themes are around recruitment of service advisors and technicians and what's the best things to go in job ads to recruit quality talent. As we know, in our industry, there's a skills shortage, so it's really is fighting with all the other people in your local area.
Yeah, 100%. I know a lot of business owners who say the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're we're always talking in there about labour rates and where your labour rate should be, pricing and margins, lots of things that really relevant to your overall profit result.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate everyone in there who helps out other business owners. Now, if you can you go to your Apple Podcasts app, please, and rate and review us on that podcast app because it helps us and our sponsors, and we provide this content to you weekly. It's not on a subscription service, so we'd really appreciate your support.
JFDI, with the Workshop Whisperer, Rachel Evans, a coaching masterclass for the brave.
This week's JFDI is don't compromise your company values. We know that business can be tough and there's times where you think, I can let this one sneak through. But Rachel is here today to tell you that is absolutely not allowable, or there are some things that are a non-negotiable. Is that right, Rach?
Mel, some things have to be non-negotiable, and that is particularly where we have a customer, but more often than not, it's a team member that has gone a bit rogue, and what they're asking, what they're insisting, that might be benefits to them, which you don't provide for others, or behaviour they're exhibiting, which they're expecting you to tolerate. We can't negotiate on those things because if we're true to our own personal values, but most importantly, the values that your business stands for, and you will have heard me talk about how we come up with values that you and the team actually come up with together. So one of the reasons for doing that is because once you've agreed on what the values are, and they might be things like we stand with integrity, we do what we say we will do, we practice open and honest communication, etc. Once you have those in writing and everyone's agreed to them, you can hold members of the team to them. And this is most likely where you're going to have one of these conversations is a particular team member who may have lost their way, or maybe, they hid a bit of who they really were to get a job with you in the first place, and you've really recognised that that was a bad hire. And they may be pushing boundaries, and, you may be of the opinion that you can't let them go yet because you don't have someone to replace them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or they may take business with them. Maybe they're threatening to go and set up shop somewhere close by, and, you've got some real fear around what that looks like for you. But at the end of the day, you have to take a step back and you have to consider who's watching you. So your other team members are watching what you tolerate. So if you're saying by doing nothing or allowing bad practices or bad behaviours to happen that it's okay, then your other team members are either going to move in that direction as well. They are going to become disillusioned with your leadership and you will start losing their respect. So your company values should be the sacred focal point of your business. And where they are being tarnished or pushed up hard against, you really need to stop and think, well, this is a business, so let's take emotion out of it and what's best for the business here. And, you may have 3 or 4 other team members that are counting on you to hold the company values true here and not bend to what this other person
Well, it's not
is
fair
doing.
if you've got one rule for one person and a different set of rules for everyone else.
That's exactly right.
Of course they're going to get disgruntled.
That's exactly right. And they may not, the good ones may not even have a conversation with you about it. You may just find their resignation letter on your desk one day because they've gone to find somewhere else to work because they got so disillusioned with you. Don't think that, your best employees are always going to come and talk to you about this stuff, because they might not. That's why we encourage the quarterly feedback forum, so that you can sit down and have really good conversations with your team members to find out how they feel about their role. We hope that if you do that and they're relaxed and comfortable, that if there is an issue, they'll bring it up with you there because you created a safe place for them. But if it's a situation where they're seeing you repeatedly tolerate something that they themselves know isn't right, then that's when things are going to go pear-shaped. So not only...
It's also going to ruin the culture as well, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And not only will you lose the one that's causing the issues one way or another, you will move them on, or they will, storm off one day when you're not prepared for it, but you'll lose good people too. And that is not what we want. So be very clear on what your company values are and your own values, and, don't be pushed, don't be bullied into accepting less than you should when it comes to performance, to behaviour, and just in general to, don't allow your culture to be degraded. Don't allow yourself to be held to ransom. These are all the things, that a team member can do when they become destructive because they don't actually know what the right way is to leave your workplace, and unfortunately you need to create the space for them to exit. So stick clear to your boundaries, as we've said, hold those company values dear, and have the other person take the action.
Thank you so much for your advice today, Rachel, and don't forget to rate and review us wherever you listen. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Whispering Loudly, the award-winning Workshop Whisperer podcast, as featured by Apple, with Rachel Evans, the #1 automotive business coach in the aftermarket. Thanks to Platinum sponsor Podium and Titanium sponsor Mechanic Desk.